Gender, as someone else said, can be an expression of yourself. You know, I think gender is a heck of a lot more complicated than we think it is. And I think it is probably a kind of a spectrum, possibly several spectrums, possibly some, I don't know, 3D object of some sort. And when you get to that point of that complexity, like, what the heck is the point of these labels? Okay, so the point of the labels, well, keep society simple. Because we all have these seemingly female and seemingly male bodies. So, I mean, we have to provide healthcare for these seemingly female and male bodies, and we have to know about how the male body works and the female body works. So, that's one point of it, I suppose. And we have to know about, certainly we have to know about a range of intersex conditions. But in society, other than that, pronouns, what's the point of that? I mean, I get the healthcare concerns, but in terms of living our day-to-day lives, I don't know. That's a big question. If we can get rid of it, get rid of the gender binary, that would kind of be nice. But that's a huge step that I don't think will happen anytime soon, realistically speaking. But I think we're taking steps towards it. The fact that people are identifying as genderqueer is a step towards it. The fact that people feel that they can identify in between male and female, or both male and female, or somewhere completely off the gender spectrums. I don't know. I would think that there's spectrums, because really, if it's affected by like a whole slew of different things, there's like, okay, how much testosterone you had in the womb, that's one spectrum. How much your testosterone level is now, that's another spectrum. How much estrogen you have now, that's another spectrum. Blah, 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 blah. That, how big your BSTC thing is, that's another spectrum. How big your brain is in general, that's another spectrum. I'm sure, and of course that's all biological. So there could be, what role do you play in society? Could be sort of a spectrum. Although really, in society, it's kind of just like male, female, bleh. So, clearly, society is oversimplifying gender. That's why the gender binary sucks. That's a given. So what does gender mean to me? Gender is frustrating, because I'm still at this age where I'm still trying to find myself out, figure myself out. So, it's kind of tough, because as stated, the gender binary gives me two options, and I don't like either of those options. Strangely enough, I was totally okay with it when I was little, but I don't think there were really too many expectations set on me by my dad or whoever. I didn't really have much of a social life, so it's not like my friends had any expectations, gender expectations for me. So that was good. So how do I summarize gender? Gender is a mix of biological and social components of a range of, if you want to describe it from masculine to feminine to whatever. Is there anything other than masculine and feminine? Here's a question. Or is it just like a spectrum of masculine to feminine? And then you're like somewhere in between. But then there are people who are like, identify without a gender. I guess there's androgynous, but that's just in the middle. Of course, that brings up questions of all the other labels that we have for our life. But I guess, labels help us to build communities, to feel like we belong to a group, right? Like, there is a certain amount of solidarity, kind of, between women, a certain amount of solidarity between men, and certainly a certain amount of solidarity between genderqueer people, or, any other gender identity out there. If we throw away these labels, how will that change society? There's a certain comfort in identifying something with a name, being able to claim that it is this, being able to label it. And there's certainly some good that occurs with language, with naming things, right? With naming things correctly, with being able to describe things correctly. It's important. So I don't know if we can do away with labels entirely, because ideally that'd be great, but I don't know if that's if that would really work, if that's practical. But it seems like we're stuck with labels for a while in any case, so I don't know. But I'm getting off topic. So, gender. The label of gender. Is the label of gender a necessary label? I think so. Maybe we can just put it into different spectrums and whatnot, and have a range of masculine to feminine, and I don't know. For now, gender seems like a spectrum, right? Whether it'll get more complicated or what'll happen in the future, who knows? I don't know. Oh, and as far as I've read, please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, the linguistics in, like, the gender of language doesn't really have much to do with the gender in the biological gender, or the gender in society of labeling people. As far as I know. Now, I know they label words as masculine or feminine or whatever, but I don't know. Let me know. Do you think that labeling words as masculine or feminine is a... Do you think that contributes to the gender binary, contributes to oppression of certain genders? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, or does it not matter? I don't know. Let me know. Of course, another question is, what really is male and female anyway? How does someone deem themselves to identify 100% male or 100% female, or anywhere on the spectrum? How do you know? How do I prove that I identify as not 100% female? Like, it's absurd. Like, you can't go by behaviors, you can't go by anything. That's another reason why I'd love to learn more about biological factors, because at least those are, like, measurable, But I guess the only thing you can go by is by what somebody labels themselves as, right? But it certainly brings the question to me of, how do I know what to label myself as? Because, that's why labels are frustrating, because I don't know where exactly to place myself. So, kind of sucks that way. Like, should I still just say that I'm female? Why is it that I had no problem calling myself female when I was little, and I have an issue with it now. Is it just gender expectations? Is it, I don't know. But then of course you have to say that, well, I did have some gender dysphoria growing up. So that you can say, yeah, I was uncomfortable with the female puberty. So that's, a very measurable thing. That is without a doubt. So you gotta say, okay, well, I can't be, your typical female. I can't be like most females, like most cisgendered females. I can't be 100% female because I'm not 100% comfortable with the female body. So that's where I lie, is in saying that. Mind you, people who don't have dysphoria, you can identify however you want. People who do have dysphoria, you can identify however you want. Just for my personal trying to figure out where the heck I lie on the gender spectrums, whatever. Yeah, I'm too much of a black and white thinker. I try to identify myself with things that are more measurable. Like, for sure, there is no doubt about the fact that I was a little bit uncomfortable with female puberty. Of course, and then I was totally uncomfortable with wearing a dress when I was 4. But can you really say that clothing is gendered? Because it is, mind you, but it's like, guys can wear dresses if they want. Mind you, it's not socially accepted, usually, but that's a problem. But, you can wear a dress and still be a guy, why not, Just like women can wear pants. There's like no issue. It used to be a long time ago, women had to wear skirts and dresses, and men had to wear pants. So, I don't know. How do you define what is masculine, and how do you define what is feminine? I don't think you can do it by behaviors or anything like that, unless we study deep inside the human brain and find correlations, or not correlations, that wouldn't work. Find causes inside the human brain for certain behaviors. And if we can do that, then we can begin to say, okay, these are masculine behaviors, these are feminine behaviors. Because, whatever. And even then, it's like, I don't know. Because really, the only things, as far as now, that we can identify as masculine and feminine is to say, this is what a masculine body looks like. This is what a male body is. This is what a female body is. And a male body, typically is comprised of this is the male reproductive system, this is the female reproductive system. I mean, there's got to be some separation there, right? Right? Okay. We can agree that should, now, the question is, the other question is, how do we say, do we even need to label those as male and female reproductive systems? Or should we label them as, just like people say, okay, to make things more inclusive, you should say people with vaginas, or people with penises, or whatever. I don't know how the heck we are going to reorganize gender in the future. It's bound to be reorganized. I can see it coming. Not anytime soon. Well, we're moving towards it. So, yeah. Anyways, I am done. So, until next week. See ya.